You are listening to a Clarkesworld Magazine podcast. I'm your host and narrator, Kate Baker. Greetings, Clarkesworld citizens. I hope this podcast finds you extraordinarily well. Welcome to 2026. Congratulations. We made it, maybe by the skin of our teeth, but we're here. And thank you so much for supporting us, for listening along with us as we tell you another story in these wonderful worlds and words that are crafted by our authors. We cannot do this without you. And if you've gone to patreon.com/Clarkesworld or clarksworldcitizens.com or bought a subscription, thank you. You help us. Let us do this every month. So thank you very much from the bottom of my heart. I wish nothing but the best for you and yours in 2026. I hope it is full of happiness, love, warmth, and wealth, and health. Our first story for this year is titled The Stars You Can't See by Looking Directly, and is by Samantha Murray. Samantha Murray's fiction has appeared in Clarkesworld, Asimov's Strange Horizons, the magazine of fantasy and science fiction, Lightspeed, Interzone, Fantasy Magazine, Beneath Ceaseless Skies, and Escape Pod, among other places. Samantha is a two-time Aurelius Award winner, and her work has been translated into Chinese and Vietnamese. Samantha lives in Western Australia in a household of unruly boys. And if you like what you hear, you can go back to Through These Moments Darkly, which was featured in April 2025. Somewhere It's About to Be Spring, February 2023. Preserved in Amber, July 2021. Of Sight, of Mind, of Heart, in November 2016. So with that, my dear listener, I hope you can sit back, relax, and let me tell you a story. Now, it is Christmas morning, and it is snowing. It feels right, and like you've somehow been waiting for this all along. You pause only long enough to recover your breath, then dash from your veranda and hold your arms out to it and welcome or embrace, tilting your head skyward and opening your mouth as flakes fall on your tongue and eyelashes. You ignore the little voice inside you saying, "Wait, stop, what? What is this? This is wrong." It's been too long since you've had an avenue to any kind of joy at all, and you grasp at this strange, unexpected chance to feel like a child again. Not thinking, not trying to project forward into the future, not being fearful, just being. You sway on your feet, half twirling. "Jack, what the hell?" Your husband has come out of the house to the edge of the veranda and is standing, looking up at the sky, blinking. He scowls as if the snow is a personal affront. "Oh, come and dance with me, Vin," you say, laughing. "How long has it been since you laughed so freely? Come dance with me in the snow." Vin looks both defensive and oddly vulnerable, and he moves slowly and with that familiar crease between his eyes. But he does come, because you ask it. His arms at your waist are something else you hadn't realized you missed. Just briefly, you feel like the person you used to be. You put your head on Vin's shoulder and close your eyes. When you were a kid, you always dreamed of a white Christmas, just like the song, just like all of the songs and the movies and the books. Sleigh bells and branches laden with white, sledding and snowmen. You feel like you know all of this. It is embedded in your psyche somewhere. It's deeply familiar, eggnog and being bundled up in coats and scarves and warm gloves against the cold. Although, it is not cold. It's not cold at all. You stand under the hazy sky with your husband barefoot in your short, light, faded nightie, and the snow drifts down and coats the ground and melts on your skin. It is Christmas Day, and it is snowing, where it never has before, not ever, in your small coastal town in Western Australia, close to the 30th parallel south line of latitude, at the very height of summer. Before, you fall in love with Vin while looking at the stars. It's your second date. Your first date was okay enough to warrant a second, perhaps, but nothing special. He was kind of sweet, and you liked his dark hair, but probably he was too young for you. Only a year and a half between you, but you'd ever only dated people quite a bit older than yourself before. You talk too fast, and whenever your eyes catch, you both look away. But on your second date, you go out to the Bickley Observatory to look through the telescopes there and have a night picnic on the lawn. It's Vin's idea, and you are all in. You'd taken an astronomy unit back when you were an undergrad, and it delights you to show off geeky cosmology facts. The Pleiades star cluster has long been your favorite, some 444 light-years away, more than 1,000 stars, all born around the same time, extremely luminous, burning themselves out quickly. And as you tell Vin, your voice low and close, many different cultures have strangely similar stories of these stars, tales of 7 wives or sisters. The Moro Indians told of a group of wives excessively fond of eating onions, thrown out of their homes by angry husbands. They wandered into the sky and became stars. To the Greeks, they were the daughters of the ocean nymph, Pleione. To the Australian Martu Aboriginals, it was the story of the Minyurpiru Jikurpa, a big group of sisters and their mothers, beginning their journey from Roebourne in the far north of Western Australia. They were pursued by a lustful old man, Jarla, and 7 of the sisters ultimately escaped into the sky. I can only see 6. Vin is not looking at you, but you are acutely conscious of the heat of his arm against your own. Don't look right at them, you say, pleased with the chance to show off again, leaning in toward him. Look off to the side. You can catch them only out of the corner of your eye. The cones in your eyes are good for color and detail, but it is the rods that are extremely sensitive to light, and they are concentrated in the outer parts of the retina in your peripheral vision. Oh. Yes. I see, Vin breathes. They're brighter. I can see 7. And that may be when you fall in love with him, with that odd little hitch in his voice right then. Later, you laugh about the fact that Vin has 4 sisters, and you have 2, so you decide to call your collective sisters the Pleiades from now on. And you do, it turns out. But there's one missing. We've only got the 6, you say. Maybe you're the 7th sister? Vin suggests. You smile considering and say, maybe. Wandered into the sky and became stars. Because what was that? About the onions, he says. You punch his shoulder. Hold up. They were on the pizza, and I seem to recall you eating them too, you say while laughing. And then he kisses you for the first time. When the phone rings, you jump. You startle, even though this is not unexpected. You have been waiting for this sound for hours, waiting so fiercely that the whole day has been defined by how much and how loudly the phone is not ringing. Your skin feels oddly sensitive, and there is an unpleasant metallic taste in your mouth, and surely it is impossible for your heart to be suddenly beating quite so fast and so hard against your chest. Oh, you don't want to answer it. You've been willing it to ring all day, and now you don't want to answer it. It's only knowledge. It doesn't change anything. It is what it is. What it has been from the beginning. This is only finding out. But it does feel like it changes things. A waveform collapsing. It feels like it changes everything. I don't want to answer it, you think, but you have already taken the 7 steps to the phone, have already picked it up, have already said, hello? In a perky, chirping sort of voice that has never belonged to you. You could have taken tests yourself while waiting for the official confirmation. You have a cupboard full of them, the cheap ones you can buy online, but you've done that before and it just feels so dreadfully self-inflicted, squinting at the little strips holding them up to the bathroom window where the bright light streams through, trying to will the very faint lines to get darker, looking at them out of the corner of your eye in case it will make them brighter like it does with the stars. Hope shredding you like a knife. Jacaranda Mitchell. The nurse's voice is frustratingly pleasant, although every part of you is trying to read the future in those bland few syllables. Outside your wide kitchen window, a magpie warbles. I'm sorry. She continues and the waveform collapses. Levels of HCG are dropping, not a viable pregnancy. You knew it, really. The same this time as the others. Multiple rounds of IVF have ended in either nothing or like this. They term it a chemical pregnancy. Very early, it doesn't really take hold, just shows up as faint lines on a pregnancy test that refuses to darken into something real. It doesn't really count. It's what you expected, although you were trying to pretend otherwise, none of which explains why you are shaking. Your favorite of the Pleiades on Vin's side is his youngest sister, M. M has moxie, nerve and verve and vim and snap, and a kind heart beneath it. She barrages straight through your initial shyness and reserve, and you adore her pretty much instantly. Years later, when M and wife Mel start IVF with a donor, you share your experience. You're a veteran by now, and bond over the gruesomeness of egg retrieval and mood swings and subcutaneous injections. When M's first round of IVF is successful and all blood tests and early signs look good, you are the only other person she tells, and you squeal and clap your hands and hug her hard. You try not to let the dark flapping rush of raw jealousy get in the way of being happy for her. You succeed, mostly, although it feels like swallowing jagged pieces of glass every time you smile. Oh, you love her, and you are happy for her. You are. Now, it wouldn't have made a difference if you hadn't gone forth so eagerly into the snow on Christmas Day, if you hadn't let it fall on your face and sink into your skin, if you'd listened to that little voice that was there all along. Wait, stop. This is wrong. Even if you'd stayed inside or sheltered under your veranda, reacted with anxiety and suspicion and caution, it wouldn't have mattered. The snow fell all around Earth, drifting down even over the equator, the oceans, for not quite 2 days, only that, in patches not aligned or dependent on global cloud formations. Scientists and meteorologists and news broadcasters and social media experts squawked and flapped and argued. You tend to avoid the news in general, but you still hear all sorts of theories put forward with fluctuating levels of nonsensicalness. Some sort of hitherto unseen and unprecedented weather phenomenon, supercharged by global warming, secretive cloud seeding by the new Warsaw Pact countries gone awry, Earth passing through the fragmentary trail of dust and gas left behind the newly discovered Christmas comet in its wobbling elliptical orbit. A side effect of the bombardment by high-energy particles during a period of heightened solar activity, the government using mind-controlling chemicals to control the populace, a plot by scientists to unloose another pandemic. The snow, under a microscope, was not snow at all, they say, but long, crystalline, string-like structures, melting and dissolving and folding in on itself too quickly for further scrutiny. You are surprisingly uncurious, which is not like you, really, at all. It is still there, shining in your memory, you and Vin standing together in the snow like a frozen moment inside a snow globe. How hushed it was, as if they were flakes of silence falling down to cover you both. It doesn't feel like a scientific oddity to be dissected and discussed and theorized over. It feels like something else, an unbidden, unexpected, perfect moment on Christmas morning. A gift. It wouldn't have made a difference however you acted that morning, even had you cowered away from the beauty of the snow and the silence. The snow came down upon crops and soils and rivers and lakes, dissipating and disappearing, slipping unseen into the nutrient cycle and the water cycle. It wouldn't have mattered what you did. Vin has always been keen on zombie movies. You're not a fan, but you watched more than your fair share when you were first dating because he was boyishly excited to share them with you, and because snuggling up to him on the couch crunching on corn chips was an agreeable way to spend an evening, even if you had to close your eyes and turn your head into his shoulder at any gory bits. One thing common to many of these movies, as well as other disaster movies Vin liked to watch, was the often clumsy foreshadowing in the very beginning. Characters would be going about their day, but in the background on TV or the radio perhaps would be reports of vague oddness, strange migrations of birds, or a new illness striking people down in Patagonia, or Scientists releasing a new drug heralded as a miracle cure for something or other. Background noise that the characters would blithely ignore in the process of going about their day. Well, until they had to sit up and take notice. Until it came to them. Turning up on their doorstep. Disasters and chaos. Zombies. You're not sure what the background rumbling was that you failed to notice in those early days, the days before everything changed and would never go back. It would have been there, among doctors or fertility clinics or radiographers in hospitals. Little prickles in the awareness of the world, signs and changes. Wait. Stop, this is wrong. But suddenly it is everywhere. Babies are being born early, at around 7 months gestation, which ought to be too early, but it's not. They are not undersized, are healthy and strong and different. You see pictures of some of them on the internet, then TV, then everywhere. There is a sheen to them almost, an odd translucence that makes them look more sharply edged and defined, unblurred, as if the rest of the world is clumsily detailed by comparison. Their fingers and toes are longer than normal. Their hearts apparently beat slower. Their eyes are large and strangely striated. They are born to people from different countries, different cultures and races, and although you can see that in them too, they are more similar than not. More like themselves than like us, you think, then put a hand up to your mouth. The baby's born after the snow. No. The babies conceived after the snow, all of them. Shadow DNA, they call it, although you hear it called snow DNA too sometimes in the beginning. The DNA of all these newly arrived infants is still a double helix, 2 polynucleotide chains winding around each other, but made of 12 bases, not 4. Ben scrolls and scrolls on his phone these days, his face darkening, the crease between his eyes a seemingly permanent fixture. It's hard to reclaim his attention sometimes. Takes a while to rouse him when you speak, to pull him away, to shift his scowling downward gaze upward to meet your eyes. He will hardly touch you now, not in a way that leads to anything. Hasn't for a while. You lightly touch the back of his neck, and he wriggles his shoulder blades as if you are a fly or a gnat, something pesky. Em's here, you tell him. And Mel. They often make the drive up from Perth to stay for an extended weekend. Finn puts his phone down, his expression softening. Shouldn't you be sticking closer to home? He asks later, when he's given Mel a beer and his sister a lemonade. Em wipes her forehead with the back of her hand. It's crazy in the city, she says. She looks tired. You can see the fine lines etched around her eyes. She sits with her legs apart on the couch and her belly looks enormous even though she has 2 months to go. I just needed to... It's crazy. There are 24-hour emergency doctors now at Jurien Bay, Mel says. That's only 17 minutes on these roads. Of course, Mel has a plan. She's a firefighter. Maybe because of that, she's always ready to jump up and jump into any situation at a moment's notice, or maybe that's how she has always been, which is why the job suits her so much. I didn't even want to go out, Em says. Not like this. I don't know if it'll be any better here, but at least there are not so many people. Too many eyes following me. It's creepy. And whispering, muttering, yelling. Oh, screw that guy, Mel says. Don't let that get to you. You can see that it is getting to her, though. Despite her gravid, burgeoning stomach, Em looks deflated somehow. She's taking up a lot of room on the couch, but it feels like there's less of her there at the same time. But how dare they? Vin looks around the room as if some dickhead is lurking there ready to hurl abuse at his younger sister. His temper is short-fused these days. It's a baby. It's a real one, a normal one. It's not one of them. I don't know that, Mel says. They think all pregnant women are carrying one. Well, pretty much all of them are, Em says, the dark circles under her eyes, making them look large and childlike. But not you, Vin says adamantly. Should it matter, you say? Your voice is soft, though, falling gently like snow, and they don't seem to notice. Flakes of silence. But Not us, Mel echoes, although we are one of very few. All the other kids are going to be like them, finishes Vin. Vin is righteously protective of his sister and his unborn niece and angered by the aggression coming their way from strangers, seemingly unaware of the irony of his own rising vitriol whenever he talks about the snow babies, which is increasingly often a subject starting to consume him from the inside. There's a parasite called a Gordian worm that gets into a grasshopper and takes control of its nervous system. Vin tells Mel the next time they visit, talking about parasites again, something he's become obsessed with in the last couple of months. This worm thing needs to finish developing in water as part of its life cycle, but of course, your typical grasshopper won't usually go anywhere near water. But it takes control of it, and it makes the grasshopper jump smack bang into the middle of the nearest pond or body of water. It uses it as an incubator for its larvae. Like mind controls it? Says Mel, wrinkling her nose. It makes it drown itself, Vin says grimly. Turns it into a kamikaze. You've heard Vin's spiel before many times. You know the examples. The toxoplasma, a parasite that makes rats attracted to cat urine and hence more likely to be eaten. The species of parasitoid wasps that inject their eggs into caterpillars. And then after the larvae exit, the caterpillar stops feeding and stands guard over the clutch of wasp larvae, defending them from predators until it eventually starves to death. You know why he is so fascinated with this right now. I always wondered what it would sound like, the end of the world, Vin says. It was like I was waiting for it sometimes. Maybe I've watched too many disaster movies. I would hear a rumble in the distance, feel a vibration, and in that minute, before the sound resolved itself into an airplane or a truck or the noise of the washing machine. In that moment, before I knew what it was, a part of me would get very still and ask, is this it? Is this how it comes? That's not the end of the world, Vin. Mel shoots a quick glance at her wife, who has dozed off over a book in the armchair. Isn't it? Vin says. When I was a kid, I would think about an alien invasion and what it would be like. You stay very still. Is this it? Is this how it comes? Invasion? Mel's voice arcs up at the end of the word, becoming shrill. You think that odd high note has disbelief edged with a fine sheen of panic, which is not something you've heard in Mel's voice before. She's pragmatic, fiery, calm in a crisis. And it was never anything like this, Vin says, and you can suddenly see what he will look like when he's older, the drooping creases to his face. It's clever, really. They don't have some all-out war and mess up the planet even more than it's already messed up. They don't risk themselves. They do it from afar. They attack us from the inside. They do it quietly, quiet as snow. They send down the snow all over the world and then, bam, no new humans anymore. You know he's active on social media and in chat groups, endlessly scrolling and typing, cradled within his echo chambers, becoming more polarized, more vehement, further away from all that is dear and familiar. Waking up from sleep in your darkened room, his face lit by the glow of his phone, is one you no longer quite recognize. It's not a conspiracy, if it is true, is all he says when you try and pry him open about it. Do you really think they are not human? Mel asks. Look at them. Just look at them, he says Vin. More like themselves than like us. Their DNA made of 12 bases, not 4. Oh, but what do we even do about that? Mel says, squaring her shoulders after preparing to wade into some disaster, looking like someone you would want on your side at the end of the world. You'd think that this would be better than other ways of the world ending, says Vin, quietly. All the humans just petering out, then that's it. The world belongs to someone else now, but it's not. It's not better. I wish they had come against us with, I don't know, some advanced weapons or... we'd know what we were up against that way. We'd go out fighting. Well, maybe we still should, Mel says. You're right. Why aren't we fighting? We should be fighting for this whole fucking planet. It's ours. The volume of Vin's voice has woken Em up, and she blinks at him. The government's not doing enough. Not like in some places. Not like in some places. You know what he means and feel nauseous, which is the first nausea you have had at all this whole time. You've seen the riots online too, ransacked hospitals, things burning. Who knows what they will do when they grow, Vin continues. We should love them, you say, standing up now and swaying almost imperceptibly on your feet. Your hand strays to your stomach, and this time you let it stay there. You've been fighting against the urge to do this for weeks. Your heart seems to be breaking softly, silently. Pieces falling down like snow. Is this it? Is this how it comes? Maybe we just love them. You and Vin got married only a year after you'd met, with the ceremony held on a cliff overlooking the ocean. The 6 Pleiades sisters were your bridesmaids, dressed in silvery blue with white flowers in their hands. When you looked out onto the horizon, it was nothing but sea glinting in the slanted sunlight, as far as you could see, like it was the end of the world. Like it was the end of the world. Do you think our kids will hate each other? You ask Em. You are washing up and she is insisting on helping despite your protests. Your tone is light and joking, but the question is not. They'll be cousins, says Em. She is due any day now and she looks frayed. And friends, she says firmly. Maybe they'll adore each other. You think perhaps that is possible? I envy you sometimes, I think, she continues, and this genuinely shocks you. But how? Why? You say. You seem so peaceful, I guess. And whatever the future is, your baby is part of it. Mine is a minority now, a remnant of something we are losing. I don't know. Mel talks about our baby being normal, but I don't know what that means, and I don't think that's what normal is going to be anymore. From now on, normal is going to be something else. I don't want this baby to have to stand for something, and that's what it feels like the world wants. And I remember Vin talking about his stupid parasites, and all babies are parasites, really, sucking up all of my nutrients, making my organs all rearranged to make room for it. My body putting her first, putting something else first ahead of me, which I want to do, of course, but it just feels so alien. Alien. And I just don't feel like I've bonded to her. Not yet. Some people do, right from the beginning, but at the same time, I'm terrified for her. Em looks at you, and her smile is tired and also fond. I like hanging out with you, Jack. I get so worried and tangled up in my thoughts, but when we are together, it's like everything falls away and we're just 2 pregnant women drinking tea. It's nice. You put your arm around Em's thin shoulders. It is nice, and Em is one of your favorite people in the world, and your kids will be cousins and friends if you have anything to do with it. And maybe you will have something to do with it, this baby strange and new, but with you and Vin in the mix somewhere, too, surely. Maybe we just love them. Maybe all the world can do is drench these babies in love and hope for the best. Maybe that is all any parent could ever do. Alien. It is not a conspiracy if it is true. Is this how they settle, how they spread? Mirror the dominant species and mix themselves into it, change them so that there is no alternative, no other choice. You still feel like yourself, becalmed and gentled and curiously at ease. Is that wrong? Wait. Stop. This is wrong. Still yourself, only filled with an aching, wondering tenderness. You would die to protect this baby, you know this. Is that coming from them or you? You would defend them like the poor, hapless caterpillar Vin told you about. Surely you would have felt like this anyway and regardless, but sometimes you stand at your window and look out and listen to the call of a currawong, and you are completely still. When is Vin back? Says Em, touching your arm with fingers that are still soapy from the dishes. He's gone a lot now. He's taken the camper. It could be a day or two or more, and then when he is home, he's out in the shed stockpiling supplies, canned food stacked high, steel drums of petrol. You think you know what he keeps trying to get away from, you and the baby you carry, but also himself. When you said what you said, when you saw the realization hit, there was a moment, his face dark with something raw and twitchy, his eyes meeting yours, and for an instant, you were scared of him. He'd gripped your arm. There were finger marks afterward. No, he'd said, harsh and guttural, like the words were ripped out of him. We can't. You have to. I have to. Your voice high and thin but steely. He didn't say the words. You knew what they were. The moment passed, you saw him crumble, the naked pain in his eyes, but the words he didn't say lingered there, etched in the air between you. They are still there, the words, the moment, and that is what he is trying to run away from. But we were so, he'd said at the last, not looking at you anymore. He'd been so careful. He'd almost never touched you, but it was already too late, although you'd not known it in the beginning. And when you'd first found out, you hadn't told, it was too new, too precarious. You'd had no nausea at all, which felt like a bad sign, and you couldn't face seeing the hope and excitement appear again in Vin's eyes, only to have it snuffed out later. So, you'd gone quiet, waited, tried not to think or hope at all, become still. And then everything changed. The world shifted and broke, all the babies conceived after the snow. When is Vin back? You wish he would come back from where he's gone, a place you can't follow, the other side of the chasm that has fractured the world. The us versus them. Oh, Vin. Perhaps he is the one on the side of humanity, and you are on the side of whatever comes next, maybe. All you know is that you're on the side of this child you carry, this singular child who'd stuck, who was yours. You stood with Vin on a cliff once, vowing to love each other forever, but maybe you should have been more specific. Maybe you should have only vowed to love each other until the end of the world. Perhaps the story of the two of you is no longer less real because it has an end date. You will tell him this, either in words or written down on a piece of paper that you will leave on your wooden kitchen bench. We should have only vowed to love each other until the end of the world. In your mind, there is still snow falling like flakes of silence down to cover you both. There are places you can go, groups that have formed, the babies all born around the same time and luminous like a star cluster you can see out of the corner of your eye. Running away or running toward. It feels right. You will wander into the sky and become stars. What are your thoughts on the story? You can send me an email. I'm kate@clarkesworldmagazine.com. I want to thank you again for spending this time with us. I want to wish you a very warm and happy 2026. I hope all good things come your way. And thank you for supporting us here at Clarkesworld. We have a new bunch of stories coming your way for the rest of the month. I do hope you'll come back and listen, should you so choose. And until then, my dear listener, I bid you a very fond and hopefully very temporary farewell.